You think you can just walk away from this? Her voice cracked, trembling with rage and disbelief. The entire Publix on Brickell Avenue had gone silent. Phones were out. 100 eyes locked on Lieutenant Commander Ethan Cross. 6 feet 2 inches, navy dress whites, jaw clenched, and the red handprint burning across the cheek of a girl no older than 23. She didn't cry. She just stared at him. "You don't know what you've done," he whispered, his hand still shaking. And then, 10 minutes later, the police arrived. But not for him. For her. Before this goes any further, if you've ever believed in taking a chance on someone, in choosing hard over comfort, please stay with us. Subscribing, liking, or sharing the story isn't about supporting a channel. It's about standing behind stories that remind us who we are. If that matters to you, even a little, stay. Ethan Cross had been home for 72 hours. 3 days of solid ground after 18 months aboard the USS Ronald Reagan, patrolling the South China Sea. 3 days of trying to remember what normal felt like. He'd walked into the Publix on Brickell to grab coffee, eggs, maybe some semblance of routine. The store smelled like fresh bread and air conditioning. He moved through the aisles like a ghost, methodical, quiet, detached. PTSD didn't announce itself. It just sat in your chest like a stone. He was reaching for a carton of oat milk when he heard it. A scream. Not playful. Not surprised. Terrified. Ethan's body reacted before his mind did. He dropped the carton and sprinted toward the back of the store, past the deli counter, past the produce section, until he saw her. A young woman, maybe 23, dark curly hair pulled into a messy bun, wearing a University of Miami hoodie. She was cornered near the stockroom door by a man in his 40s, greasy hair, wild eyes, holding a box cutter to her throat. "Don't move," the man hissed. "Don't you dare move." Ethan's instincts kicked in. He assessed the situation in 2 seconds. Distance, 12 feet. Weapon, short blade, serrated edge. Hostage, compliant but shaking. Threat level, high. "Sir," Ethan said calmly, hands raised. "Let's talk about this." The man's eyes darted toward him. "Stay back. I'll cut her. I swear I'll." Ethan lunged. It was clean. Textbook disarm. He twisted the man's wrist, forced the blade to the ground, and had him pinned in under 4 seconds. The girl stumbled backward, gasping, hand to her throat. Security rushed in. The man was cuffed. The girl was checked by paramedics. And Ethan? He just stood there, breathing hard, staring at his hands. "Thank you," she whispered, tears streaming. "Thank you so much." He nodded once. Didn't say anything. Didn't know how. Her name was Sienna Ortiz. She was a grad student at UM, studying social work. She worked part-time at a women's shelter in Overtown, and she had no idea she'd just been saved by a man who hadn't slept more than 3 hours a night in over a year. 3 days later, Ethan was back at the same Publix. Routine was all he had. He was in line at the pharmacy when he saw her again. Sienna, same hoodie, different day. She was arguing with the pharmacist, voice rising. "I don't care what the system says," she snapped. "I filled this prescription 2 weeks ago. I need my refill now." The pharmacist, a middle-aged woman with tired eyes, shook her head. "Ma'am, I can't override the insurance. You'll have to wait until—" "I can't wait." Sienna's voice broke. "Do you understand? I can't." Ethan stepped forward. "How much is it without insurance?" Sienna spun around, eyes wide. "What? No, you don't have to." "How much?" The pharmacist hesitated. $340. Ethan pulled out his card. "Run it." Sienna stared at him, mouth open. "I know. I can't let you." "It's done." The pharmacist processed the payment. Sienna stood frozen, tears welling up again. Outside in the parking lot, she finally spoke. "Why did you do that?" Ethan shrugged. "You needed it." "I don't even know you. You don't have to." She studied him for a long moment. "You're the guy from the other day. The one who—" "Yeah." Silence. Then she smiled. "Small. Real. Thank you. Again." He nodded. started to walk away. Wait, she jogged after him. Can I at least buy you coffee? I mean, you just spent $300 on a stranger. The least I can do is... I don't drink coffee. Tea. I don't drink tea. Water. He almost smiled. Almost. Sure. They sat at a small cafe on Corway, across from each other, two strangers bound by chaos. Sienna stirred her iced latte, eyes distant. You ever meet someone and just wonder what they've been through? Like, what kind of life leads a person to jump in front of a box cutter without thinking twice? Ethan didn't answer. She looked up. You don't talk much, do you? Not really. That's okay. She leaned back. Sometimes the quietest people have the loudest stories. If you ever met someone who saved you without saying a word, someone whose silence spoke louder than anything, drop a comment. Tell me about them. I think we all need to remember those people more often. Over the next 2 weeks, Sienna and Ethan kept running into each other. At Publix, at the park, at the marina. It wasn't planned. It just happened. She learned he was Navy, that he'd been deployed, that he didn't sleep well, that he hated crowds, that he wore the same 3 shirts in rotation. He learned she was passionate, that she fought for people who couldn't fight for themselves, that she volunteered at a shelter for women escaping abuse, that her mom had died when she was 16, that she believed people were good, even when the world tried to prove otherwise. They didn't date. They just existed around each other. Until the night everything broke. It was a Friday. Sienna had invited Ethan to a fundraiser at the shelter. Nothing fancy, just pizza, raffles, and donated art from local kids. He said yes. First social event in 2 years. Everything was fine, until the fire alarm went off. The sound was sharp, piercing, identical to the alarm on the ship during a drill. Ethan's vision blurred. His chest tightened. He couldn't breathe. He was back on the Reagan. Smoke, flames, screaming, bodies. Ethan? Sienna's voice was distant, muffled. Ethan, hey, look at me. He shoved her. Hard. She stumbled backward, hitting the wall. Everyone stopped. Ethan stood there, panting, shaking, eyes wild. Don't touch me, he rasped. Don't, just don't. Sienna stared at him, hand on her shoulder, stunned. Ethan's voice cracked. I mean... He bolted, out the door, into the night, into the suffocating Florida heat. Sienna stood there, surrounded by whispers, her heart breaking for a man she barely knew. Ethan didn't answer her calls, didn't respond to texts. For 3 days he disappeared. Sienna showed up at his apartment in Coconut Grove on the 4th day. She knocked. Once. Twice. The door opened. He looked like hell. Unshaven. Dark circles. Hello. I'm sorry, he said immediately. I know. He blinked. What? I know what happened. I called your unit. Talked to your CO. He told me about the fire, about the sailors you lost. Ethan's jaw tightened. You had no right. You're right. I didn't. She stepped inside. But I care about you, Ethan. And I'm not going anywhere. You should. Well, I'm not. He turned away. I hurt you. You were scared. That's not an excuse. No, but it's a reason. She moved closer. You think you're broken. You think you're dangerous. But I see you, Ethan. And you're not a monster. You're just human. He broke. For the first time in 18 months, Lieutenant Commander Ethan Cross cried. And Sienna held him. She whispered into his hair, voice soft. You ever think about how we're all just trying to survive our own wars? Some people fight them overseas. Some fight them at home. But we all carry scars. Ethan's breath shuddered. And maybe, she continued, the bravest thing we can do is let someone see them. If you've ever been that person, the one who stayed when someone pushed you away, or if you've been the one who pushed and wished they hadn't, leave a comment. Let's talk about it. Because healing isn't a solo mission. Ethan started therapy, twice a week at the VA in Miami. It wasn't easy. Some days he wanted to quit. Some days he did. But Sienna kept showing up. She didn't fix him. She just stayed. They started spending more time together. Real time. Coffee. He still didn't drink it, but he'd sit with her. Walks along South Beach. Late night talks at her apartment in Wynwood. He told her about the ship, about the fire, about the 19-year-old kid from Nebraska who didn't make it out. She told him about her mom, about the shelter, about the women she couldn't save. They were both haunted, but together, the ghosts were quieter. 6 weeks later, Ethan got orders, not deployment, a transfer. Austin, Texas, Naval Recruiting Station, desk job, stateside. It's a good thing, his therapist said, a fresh start. But all Ethan could think about was Sienna. He told her over Thai food in Little Havana. She went quiet. When? She finally asked. 2 weeks. She nodded, set down her fork. Okay. Yeah. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm happy for you. Sienna, really, it's great. You deserve it. But her voice cracked, and Ethan realized, for the first time, that leaving her might hurt more than anything he left behind. The night before he left, they met at the marina. The water was black and still. The city glowed behind them. I don't want to do this, Ethan said quietly. Do what? Say goodbye. Sienna looked at him. Then, don't. Sienna, come on, Ethan. You're military. You're used to this. People leave. People move on. Not you. She froze. Not you, he repeated, stepping closer. I don't want to leave you. Then stay. I can't. I know. They stood there, inches apart, the weight of everything unsaid pressing down like a storm. I love you, he whispered. Sienna's breath hitched. I don't know what happened, he continued, but I do. And I. She kissed him. Hard. Desperate. Real. When they pulled apart, she was crying. I love you too, she whispered. So, don't you dare forget me. Never. Ethan had been in Austin for 3 months. He hated it. The job was fine. The city was fine. Everything was fine. Except he missed her. Every damn day. They texted, called, FaceTimed, but it wasn't enough. One night, his phone rang at 2 a.m. Sienna? Her voice was shaking. Ethan, something happened. What? Are you okay? Someone broke into the shelter. One of the women's ex-husbands. He had a gun. She sobbed. We got everyone out. But are you hurt? No. But Ethan, I can't stop shaking. I can't. I'm coming. What? I'm getting on a plane. I'm coming to you. Ethan, you can't just... Watch me. He hung up and booked the next flight out. As he packed, his hands trembled. Not from fear. From clarity. Because sometimes you don't realize what you're fighting for until you're about to lose it. And Ethan Cross has spent 2 years fighting the wrong war. If you've ever dropped everything for someone, or had someone drop everything for you, drop a comment. Tell me the story. Because love isn't about convenience. It's about showing up when it matters most. Ethan arrived in Miami at 6 a.m. He went straight to her apartment. Knocked. She opened the door, eyes red, hair a mess. You're here, she whispered. I'm here. She collapsed into him. They didn't talk. They didn't need to. He just held her. 2 weeks later, Ethan requested a transfer back to Miami. It took 4 months. Red tape, bureaucracy, strings pulled, but it happened. And when he showed up at Sienna's door with a duffel bag and a grin, she laughed so hard she cried. You're insane, she said. Probably. You gave up Austin for me? Austin can't compete. She pulled him inside. I love you, Ethan Cross. I love you too, Sienna Ortiz. 1 year later, they were back at Publix. Same store, same aisle. Ethan was holding a basket. Sienna was reading a list. Oat milk, he asked. Check. Eggs. Check. Ring. She looked up. What? He was on one knee, in the middle of Publix, aisle 7, next to the dairy section. Sienna Ortiz, he said, voice steady. You saved me. Not that day with the box cutter, but every day after. You saw me at my worst and stayed. You loved me when I didn't know how to love myself. And I don't want to spend another day without you. She was crying. So will you marry me? She nodded, laughing through tears. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. The entire store erupted in applause. And as they kissed, surrounded by strangers in grocery carts and fluorescent lights, Ethan realized something. He'd spent years fighting wars overseas. But the greatest battle he'd ever won was the one for his own heart. And he'd won it with her. Later that night, as they sat on the balcony of their new apartment in Coral Gables, Sienna leaned her head on his shoulder. You ever think about how different life would be if we'd never met? She asked. Every day. Me too. But we did. Yeah. She smiled. We did. And somewhere in the distance, the ocean whispered back. If this story reminded you that love isn't perfect, it's just real, and that sometimes the people who save us are the ones we least expect, drop a comment. Tell me your story, because we're all just trying to find our way home. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find it together. This story is dedicated to everyone who's ever fought a battle no one else could see. You're not alone, and you're stronger than you know. If this story touched you in any way, if it made you feel something, pause for a moment, or see life a little differently, please don't let it end here. These stories take heart, time, and care to create, and your support is what keeps them alive. Subscribing, liking, or sharing isn't just a click. It's a quiet way of saying this mattered. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, please stay with us.